Hi there. As is so often the case, I find myself trying multiple times to do a video. I think it's partly because of the fact that I really am not good at scripting videos. If I script a video, I'll end up having to read the script, which means I'm not going to be looking at the camera, which means that I'm going to look a little strange in my video. So please forgive the fact that these sometimes can be a little rambly and sometimes have dramatic pauses where I'm trying to gather up my thoughts for the next statement. Anyhow, what's the point of this video? A couple of things, actually. First of all, my last video talked about processing black and white. Now, it was excerpts from a Zoom meeting, so it may seem a little disjointed at times, but I think it gives, I hope, an overview of what I do in order to get black and whites that are pleasing to me. Now remember, many people have different views of what makes a good image. And in the case of my black and whites, this is what pleases me. But what I showed in the video was a process that, of course, can help anyone achieve the results that they want. Now, enough about processing. What about gear? I have talked too much about gear. Too many of my videos have been about gear. In terms of gear, let me just put it this way. I still have two systems. I still have one Sony camera and a number of lenses. I still have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, I guess you could say 5 Olympus cameras, even though the old EP1 is basically just gathering dust on a shelf. So yes, I have too much gear. Yes, I have too many lenses. Yes. But I'm not talking about gear. I have been very interested in street photography now for the past few years. Unfortunately, street photography, as you think of with big cities like New York and London, that's not really something that I can get much into here because I live in a province where the cities are, considerably smaller and a lot less busy. Doesn't mean you can't get good street pictures. So, what for me is a good street picture? Well, first of all, it is not the Bruce Gilden in people's faces with a flash type of photography. That type of shock photography, that type of get a reaction regardless, that I'm not interested in that. Mr. Gilden has made quite a name for himself with that, and good for him. But that's not my point of view when I think of street photography. Henri Cartier-Bresson is probably closer to the point. His images often show people that are only vaguely identifiable, usually in the act of something, whether it's the boy carrying the 2 magnums of wine, the guys trying to look through the fence. All of these things are, people doing what they do. I have a couple of images, like for instance, on the street in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, there was a tobacco store where a girl was rolling cigars outside the store. She noticed me, I pointed to my camera, she posed holding out one of the cigars. Okay, a street portrait. Fair enough, but one that I wouldn't mind framing and putting on my wall. Images of random individuals doing little more than walking in and out of a scene don't interest me. Alan Shaller's work interests me because for the most part, when there are identifiable people in the image, it's because of a particular circumstance, like someone staring out the window of a train as it goes by, things like that. His work is more about the graphic, about the high contrast black and white that really draws you in based on the structure of the image rather than something identifiable. That is more the direction that I head in my street photography. And I think the only takeaway I'd like anybody to get from this particular video is probably the same one from a video I've done earlier about street photography. And that is, the goal of street photography for most of us is merely to please yourself. Do not follow trends just for the sake of following trends. Do not post things on Instagram just in hopes of getting a bunch of likes. Instead, ask yourself this simple question. As an amateur photographer, would I want to take this picture, print it, frame it, and put it on my wall? And I find that most of my images that fit in that category are the ones where I did not follow the herd, where I did not try to do what would be considered, and pardon the air quotes, traditional. And traditional doesn't even fit in this case because these rules have only been developed in the past 20 years or so. But this idea of street photography having to fit a set of rules is a little troublesome. Now, what do I do with my street photography? Rarely are there identifiable people in the image. I try as much as possible to find something that is graphically interesting. I do not go for the super high contrast thing like Alan Schaller does, but every now and then I can get a shot like that. I like that. Fan Ho's work, which of course often has people being rather small in the image, I like that, so many of my images are of that type. And of course, what it all comes down to, if I like it, and if my significant other, my wife, also likes it, then it gets printed, it goes on a wall. And some of my best images have been those images. Now, enough about street photography. All I want to say, and again, the only takeaway is that, guys, stop trying to follow the herd. Stop trying to follow a bunch of rules that are very arbitrary, and instead go out there and take images that are pleasing to you. If you are a professional photographer, obviously you have to please a client. Obviously you have to fit some set of rules that have been set down for the images that the client needs. That's specific. But if you're shooting for yourself, you're the only person you need to please. And of course, in my case, if I want to print it and put it on a wall in plain sight, well, my wife has to like it too. But I think she has good judgment. Anyhow, folks, enough about street photography. I hope you got something from this video. If you like it, please give it a like. If you want to see more of my videos, then subscribe to this channel. And if you think anybody's going to get anything useful from this or any of my other videos, by all means share them. Bye for now.